It's perfect, I know. Thanks for noticing. In any case, Fable is not perfect at all. Fable is something that we call dead on arrival, or a DEI on arrival. It is bad, there's nothing that can save it, and the current perception towards it is, well, it's a disaster, okay? There are very few people who are brave enough to lie and say that Fable looks good. And we potentially found one, boys.
So you guys remember last week they dropped the gameplay demo for Fable? It did very well. We talked about it.
It did very well. You heard that? The gameplay demo that doesn't have a single good comment about it, that doesn't have a single good reaction about it, that has people calling it bad and an abomination in the eyes of God. It did good, boy. Ah, you gotta love it.
At length, because for one, we have a bread loaf right there. It's kind of hard not to see it once you notice it. Somebody on stream pointed it out and like, dude, he has junk in the trunk. I can't unsee it, frankly. Having said that, though, we looked at the other things that are more important.
It somehow these people noticing it does make sense.
Such as the gameplay. There's a lot of cool stuff that they showcased about choice and consequence and all that, but there were a couple of things that were just kind of weird. The cake is...
I don't remember seeing anything about choice and consequence. What? Did I miss it?
Back, exactly. The cake is back. There were a lot of things that were just weird about what we saw. Namely, like, payouts were super high. It seemed like progress was super fast. You walk in the village and within a 30-minute demo, he basically runs...
Oh, people were talking about this. Yeah, a lot of people actually were interested in this because they said, oh, it's tuned up for the demo. Why the hell would you tune it up for the demo? How does that make any sense? So we're gonna tune the game up to seem super fast and unimportant for the demo. Oh, no. No, that makes no sense. I think this is exactly as it should be, by the way. You know why? Because the people making this can be a best described as complete idiots, folk losers and trolls, okay? And, well, they essentially think that having 1,000 NPCs for whom you need to buy gifts means that all of this needs to be very fast. You can have multiple businesses, not just one. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can buy. You can buy the whole village pretty much, as far as I understand it. So, the fact that you can, hit the anvil 3 times and get enough gold to buy one house is counteracted by the fact that, well, to buy the whole village, you need to spend an hour doing that. And that's the way that they are thinking. I know, completely insane and stupid, but I mean, we're talking about people who decided to take away morality from Fable and then spend half of this video telling you how there's no good and evil, but there is good and evil. It's what a failure.
Runs the whole village. He's about to get engaged. He owns multiple properties. He owns a business and is buying a house. It seemed to move really quickly. And then the combat at the very end of the teaser right in here looked just really stiff and placid, like with enemies just standing.
The NPCs didn't do anything. The NPCs were standing, and there is only seemingly one female guard look. Now, granted, yes, it should be 0 female guards, but we only have one.
My camera's covering it. With enemies just kind of standing around doing nothing, which just felt really weird.
And notice the fact that the peasant that's lying on the ground here, yeah, that's unkillable. This is Starfield. This is literally Starfield.
Which just felt really weird. Like he's just standing there the whole time. And it was like, what is going on? So we talked about it. We're like, what is happening? Hopefully they can tighten up the combat. I don't know what's happening. Well, the devs heard our cries. This is why I've always said it's important to verbalize these things. We see this and we're like, why is this guy just standing here? Vocalize it so they know we don't like it. Vocalize it so they know if there's an explanation for it, they need to tell us. Vocalize it. Don't be a jerk, But if something is weird and you have questions about it, raise those questions. Well, the devs did. So Idle Sloth clipped these replies. Shout out to Idle Sloth for doing that. But people on Twitter, X, whatever, were asking about this. Harks said the following, quote, oh my God, scrolled in way too much. Please release info about difficulty levels. The game looks promising, but combat seems extremely easy. Enemies just look at you for way too many seconds before taking action. A good challenge is the first thing I want from a game. If it's easy, it's not for me. I think a well-phrased point, comment, question, whatever. And then Fable responded, to their credit, and said, quote, we promise the guards haven't all taken up tea drinking mid-shift. Our team were playing on story difficulty. This is the gentlest way to wander through Albion. Should you prefer a sterner welcome, other difficulty levels will ensure the guards remember their training and are less...
This is a lie. It's the same as the male character. The male character didn't exist. They released the trailer, it was only the fucking golem lookalike Woman. And then people complained and they added in the male character. And that's why you first had the gay walk. Classic. And still you have now the gay stride because you can't fix everything. And they don't have difficulty settings. Of course they don't. They spend all their fucking time doing motion captures for the world's ugliest character.
Polite. It's very good to know. That's good. Okay, it's on story difficulty. That explains why they were so easy to kill. That explains why they just kind of stood around, because on story difficulties, AI aggression is cranked all the way to the bottom. So that's good. That explains it. Okay, I would like to see gameplay.
The most obvious lie I have, again, ever heard in my entire life, and it's not even close. Let's be absolutely real, okay? It's not even close. It's an absolute lie.
Not on story difficulty before launch, and we probably will, but now they know when you showcase story mode, people, they assume that that's what the normal gameplay is going to look like, because I don't know why you would showcase it in story mode. Like, give the controller to one of your better players and then play it on normal, like do it that way. You can always re-record it, I don't know why you would show it on story mode, but now at least it's been vocalized, hey, we would like to see normal.
They didn't see a problem with it. That's why they did it on story mode. These people are insane. Everything about Fable smells rancid.
Gameplay that most people will be playing on the normal difficulty. So there's that. There was another question raised about all of this. So Gaming Landmarks, actually friend of the channel, often hangs out in here with us in chat, might even be here now, who knows. He said in Fable you can literally change people's lives, how it started, how it's going, showing Jack the beggar turning into Jack the bartender. Fable said help Jack saving the Colin the pig, successful date, it's been a good day in Albion. And then Gaming Landmarks replied, don't forget blacksmithing, easiest 18k gold I've seen made. So much to do in this game. But they actually took it upon themselves to respond to this specifically. You've spotted a rather generous blacksmith. In the demo, our team sped things up and padded the purse a touch to show the system in action, given the time slot we had. Rest
again, this is lies.
assured, when you arrive in Albion properly, you will have to put in some shifts to earn gold and start purchasing your chosen product.
Again, this is a lie. The reason that they're saying this is because they already saw the actual backlash of people saying that the economy is completely effed. This is a lie.
Property. Again, a direct response to another point of feedback, which was, why is it that we start blacksmithing? He needed, I think, 26 or 36,000 gold, and you can see how quickly he gathered it. Just slam, slam. 18,000.
Just like that, I earn a multiplier on my gold.
Like, that's a lot. That was like everything he needed to buy a house, and he got it in like 30 seconds. And so we talked in the segment again about like how that seemed really fast. And then they explained, yeah, so it's kind of like inflated. We sped it up. It's not going to be like that in the final.
Also, the way you know that this is a lie is because then he goes buys the business, and then he goes into the chest, and literally the business pays for itself in something like 3 hours when you do the math. I don't know how long, but it's like the business pretty much almost pays for itself almost instantly. So It's just free. Buying stuff in this game is free because you don't have to wait until it turns a profit. It just almost instantaneously does. So they didn't say anything about that part, though. They only said something about this. Again, all of their numbers are just bad.
Game, which is great. I think it's one of those things you should, like, you know, it could have been clearer. I don't know if it was communicated beforehand, at least not in the video, it wasn't, but that's something that I think would have been helpful to know going into the video, that like, hey, we sped up gold acquisition, we lowered the difficulty to story mode. That's why you're going to see the combat seem easier than it actually is. But I think at that point, like, why not just not slow it down, or show it in its normal form and then just show, we grinded for a little bit and now we've come back after completing some side quests and we have enough money to buy our house. I think everybody would be like, okay, cool. I don't think you need to stage it in this particular way. But this is how they learn. This is how they see that, okay, maybe next time do it on normal difficulty, vanilla as the game will actually be, so that people don't see these things and go, that's weird. Why is it like that? You know? Why? And that's the thing, is when you're selling your game or any product, you don't want to have to ask why. You don't want to have to then go and explain what actually was going on and explain, no, it's not like that. As they say in politics, if you're explaining, you're losing, because you're already on the back foot narratively. You just don't want to have to deal with that. And so now they know. But they did answer like the two major points of feedback that we had, which was that progress seemed super fast and combat seemed way too easy and enemy AI seemed really dumb and like lackadaisical. And they actually responded to those points and have quelled those concerns. I still would like to see what the game looks like vanilla without tweaking it or speeding up gold production or playing on story mode. I'd like to see normal difficulty and see what that combat looks like. But I'm glad that they actually responded to it. And to their credit, they actually did, which I think is good. I think that's very...
Well done, Luke. Well done. You will earn the early access to play Fable, which is going to be a great game. I'm sure you will say that everyone needs to buy it. It's the best thing since sliced bread. I am sure. It is what it is. Yeah, in any case, it's not looking good. Fable again, it's a disaster. At this point, if you don't agree with the fact that Fable just looks bad, well, you're gonna buy it and probably regret it. Or even worse, you buy it and don't regret it because you probably have 60 IQ, which would be a little bit sad, but, you know, maybe I can get you to donate all the money you have to me, you know, because doing that is smart and good. How about that? Anyway, you get the point. Fable is a tragedy. It's sad. Britain's gonna have to collapse because of this, probably. And nothing of value was lost, as they say. In any case, that was our boy Lukey Poo Stephanie. Have a nice day. Bye.